He was, Rob. I think it was the first question, or one of the first questions that came up in that news conference today. It's no surprise, really, when you consider that his predecessor, Vinny O'Connor, came into this club after they'd been relegated from the Premier League and immediately took them straight back to the Premier League. And that's very much the expectation on Scott Parker coming here as well. He says it's been a positive, the fact that he's been through a pretty long and drawn-out process in terms of taking over from Vinny O'Connor as well. He said that's given him a chance to get to know the owners, get to know their feel for the football club as well. He's only been in a couple of days, I suppose, in terms of getting down to the job, and there is changes that need to happen within this squad as well. For instance, of course, Assignon, Jakob Brun-Larsen, it's incredibly unlikely that they'll return to the football club after their loan spells as well. So there is a balancing of the squad needed, and Scott Parker admitted, of course, that they have got big numbers in that squad as well. So as I say, there is a bit of a balancing act to do with that squad, and there is the support for him as well to move in this transfer market during the summer too. So on top of that, though, there is the fact, though, that the ultimate aim is to get Burnley back to the Premier League. Scott Parker recognises that, and of course it's a challenge that he's up for.
Yeah, that's the aim. That's the aim. And you know, Vinny did an incredible job in that sense, and has left a good bones of a football club in that sense. He's obviously gone on now, but for sure, you know, we have a very good squad here. And of course, I've been in the building for 2 days, so as you can imagine, there's a lot of work to do in terms of understanding things and seeing the general dynamics of the team. But for sure, the aim this year is for us to be competing at the right end of the table and trying to take this football club into the Premier League.
Well, there's been a mixed reaction, I think it's fair to say, Vinny, to his appointment. Was he asked about that?
He was, Rob. I think a lot of that bad reaction comes down to the fact that it didn't go well for him at Bruges. He spoke about that today. It was, 10 games in charge and ultimately ended up with the sack. It was 2 games that he won, 2 games that he lost, and 6 games drawn during his spell there. And he just said it wasn't enough time, really, to get to grips with the football club. In fact, he spoke about it as being such a bad experience for him. On top of that, though, of course, you look at his record before that. He has got a track record of getting clubs out of the Championship. He did it with Fulham, he did it with Bournemouth, and so therefore when you look at the kind of mixed reaction that there's been, you look at it in context, you think, well, why has there been such a reaction like that, given that he has got that track record of success in the Championship? So that's what he's looking to bring to Burnley, and he's hoping that the fans will get right behind him.
When I look at the people here, I think they represent that as well, and I will put my absolutely everything, heart and soul, in this job to get this club to the Premier League, and there will be no stone left unturned in terms of the work ethic, in terms of the team they're going to see. At times there's going to be a little couple of bumps along the way. At times maybe it ain't going to be the most fluid, lovely football. That's just part of professional sport. But the one thing you can guarantee, that this team will have big hearts, big souls. There'll be a passion about this team that represent the local people here and represent me. I'm not just saying it as in the local people, I'm saying me as well. That's what I stand for. So while I get there may be some different opinions on that, that's down to me and that's down to the group of players to change them. I'm hoping that we can do that.
Maybe you could argue as well that at times head coaches are underappreciated, and maybe we've seen that in some of the reaction to Scott Parker's appointment, as I say, given that track record of getting teams out of the Championship and into the Premier League. And he also pointed to the fact that someone else who's experienced that kind of situation is someone like Gareth Southgate, the criticism that he's faced through the Euros, and yet England are there preparing for a semi-final against the Netherlands. Certainly Scott Parker would like a decent run in terms of results, at least anyway, when he gets that season underway, and of course throughout that entire season as he looks to get Burnley back into the top flight of English football.